What I wanted to do was start off with what was our relationship with books like when we were younger? Because some people, think that, oh, maybe it's a skill you're supposed to have, since you were a kid. Like skating. Skating is not something you kind of develop. It's something if you're
Right.
trained at it, if you train at it when you're younger, then it becomes secondhanded to you. So let's start off with that, Paul. What was your relationship like? Were you always around books, or did that just develop at a much later time in your life? What was your relationship
Yeah,
like?
I mean, this is all very personal because I had a troubled relationship with books, actually,
Oh,
and I don't.
really?
Oh
I
yeah,
wasn't expecting that. Okay.
no, no, really, and I haven't really discussed this on YouTube. I mean, before, so I'm not sure I should really, but I don't think it's inappropriate. I'm not going to betray any confidence or anything, but no, I had a troubled relationship. So I had at school, I was pretty much this is how I perceive myself, by the way. At school, I was pretty much a failure and not being academic successful in the early years at school at all. But I was a late developer, to be honest. And I remember I started to read at an early age books on philosophy. I remember I used to sit in front of the Open University TV station. They had it at that time and sort of watch programs about philosophy or music or whatever. But and that kind of had this twin track existence. On the one hand, I was really not doing well at school for all sorts of reasons, but privately, I developed this interest in books. And I remember it was fairly secret, actually. I felt that there was something very odd about what I was doing, and I kind of kept it private, even from my parents. So, so I remember in my early teens, my interests were very much politics. I was interested in philosophy, political philosophy, Marxism, history, and classical music, I guess. And so, yeah, those are my main interests. That's it. Religion was much later in my 20s when I became a Christian. Suddenly that light bulb switched on. Theology. But before that, philosophy and history, I guess, were my main passions, I guess.
So just to be clear, Paul, you were never encouraged by your family or your parents to go out and read. This was something that just developed naturally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Wow.
my parents had a small, very small library of books, and I used to sort of secretly look at those and borrow them occasionally. No, it wasn't encouraged. It was simply ignored. It was so whatever interest I showed grew organically and naturally and privately over the years, and it's yeah. I feel very awkward talking about it, to be honest, because it wasn't a happy time. But so my passion for books has always been intensely personal and private. It's never been formally, well, not never. It's not normally formally expressed in accreditation at universities. I've never gone down that professional route. It's always been a personal quest and obsession. It's like well, we all have appetites, but one of my fundamental appetites is reading. And I could no more stop reading than I could stop breathing. And I did try. I did try. I remember. I think in my early trial, I thought this is ridiculous. This is reading all the time. I think I succeeded for about 48 hours and not reading or something stupid. But no, it's just part of who I am. So when people ask me, "Oh, Paul, what reading? How do I read? What strategies do you adopt? How do you do it?" I'm thinking that is not how I think. How do you develop an appetite for food? What strategy do you adopt for breathing? It's a silly question, and I don't mean it's a silly question they're asking me. It's not, but far from it. But it's not something I've had to cultivate. It's something I've had to kind of organically grow with, and I have strategies now about how I read books. Maybe we'll come on to that, but it is very much an instinctual, natural thing. It's not something I have tried to cultivate in any formal way, really.
Right.
God,
Okay.
all that I wanted to say. You
Right.
got it out of me.